We Takuba. And welcome to Clay Radio's Tribal Talk Radio with your most humble host, Robert T. Schwach. Satire.
And we didn't need any book. Then the Great Spirit met the great law. Indians are Jesus, hanging from the cross, in the name of their Savior, forcing on us the trinity of the chain, guilt, sin, and blame. The trinity of the chain, guilt, sin, and blame. Hanging from the cross, in a delusional grandeur. They lie to us, then lie to themselves about lying to us, hanging from the cross, in the name of the mother, the child, and the human.
Yeah, hanging from the cross. John Trudell from the Bone Days album. For those new listeners today, excuse me, there was readjusting and putting away my phone from taking a selfie. Welcome to today's rather foggy and fall edition of Tribal Talk Radio. I'm joined in the studio by my good brother from Terra Tipi, the Harlem Indian, Robert.
Indigenous Cultures Day celebration at Daybreak Star on Monday. And one of the forerunners to protesting against Columbus Day was Russell Means.
Yeah.
And he passed away a while back ago in the month of October. And my shout out to American Indian Movement of Colorado for starting this movement going against Columbus Day, as well as the protests that happened in San Francisco at Alcatraz back in the day.
Absolutely. And with that being said, speaking of protest, we have a rally that was scheduled for today, and I got an update here, and was told that now they're having a public hearing down there about the oil terminals and the crude oil that's being transported by rail in the hopes of building this terminal out there in the Quinault Indian Nation territory and exporting oil. And so they had the first round of comments taken from the public, the draft environmental impact statements, and they're going for round two. And so they're encouraging people to get down there today between 1:30 and all the way till 9 o'clock tonight down there in front of the DNR Theater. That's at 205 South I Street, right there in the heart of the city where the alligators roam in Aberdeen. So Steve Robinson and everybody else is saying, hey, get down here and support this. No oil by rail, please. And thank you. And so we need all the support we can get. And we're finding traction, with opposing these pipelines and mining and fracking and transporting and exporting and building terminals and things like that. And so onward and upward, keep her going there, Quinault, and that's your other home place.
Yeah, that's where my daughters are from, Heather and Sky Upham. Hey, they were effective in stopping that highway from going through their reservation at one time. Remember that?
Yeah.
They did that blockade. They didn't want that highway going along the ocean shore, clear through up towards Nia Bay and all.
One day these Indian things are going to be everybody things. I'm saying we're out there protecting the air, water, land, and the fire, and so eventually, we're gonna, it's slowly happening, huh? Nebraska, Cowboys and Indians, things, these alliances,
Or Lion said, "Who's the lawyer for the Eagles and the Bears?" And so pretty soon the white people will be saying, "Who's the lawyers for the Indians?"
Yeah. The environment, brother. Yeah, we got a lot of things going on, and a lot of people are anticipating our guest today, our special guest, Louis Gong. He's being recognized, acknowledged, and blanketed up there at the Chief Seattle Club in Seattle right now. And
his design, his new retooling of their design for Chief Seattle Club, it's beautiful.
Is it?
Yeah, it looks like a prayer going up to the sky with hues of blue and black.
This is Joe the Boss Hip.
And I'm Chauncey Welliver, boxing's #7 world-ranked heavyweight contender, and you're listening to Tribal Talk on your reservation station, Clay Radio.
That's right. My wife was reminding me to get a liner from Mr. Louis Gong as well. I don't know if that's going to work out. But, hey, thanks for staying tuned to Tribal Talk Radio. I'm your humble host, Robert T-Schwaxataikum, and my very special co-host, the Harlem Indian, Robert Upham. As promised, we are joined by the artist extraordinaire, the tennis shoe guy. I seen it and heard it one time. I was like, that's not his Indian name. But anyway, welcome to Tribal Talk Radio, Louis Gong.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you taking some time out of your hectic and very special and very honorable day today. I was telling the listeners before you called in that you're being recognized, acknowledged by the Chief Seattle Club this afternoon, and you're taking a few moments from that honoring to come out and speak to all of our listeners.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's kind of made for a dynamic day. You know, I just kind of stepped out from the luncheon, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but, you know, life's more interesting that way, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, a lot's going on in your life and in your world right now. How we do it here on Tribal Talk Radio, we roll the drum over to our guests, allow them to introduce themselves however they traditionally or more comfortably feel about doing so, and then we just want to kind of really cut to the chase and allow you to introduce your new endeavors and your company.
Yeah, okay. My name is Louis Gong. I'm a Nooksack tribal member, and I was raised both in Ruskin, B.C., that's just across the U.S.-Canada border, and in the Nooksack tribal community by my grandma, who's native, and my grandpa, who's Chinese. Been in Seattle for about 15 years now. And, you know, how I kind of introduce myself in terms of my work is changing. You know, it seems like on a monthly basis, but I'll tell you guys that I'm an artist and entrepreneur, and I'm the founder of 8th Generation.
Yes. And so, where do I want to start here? With you have your blankets, and you have a design that with the Pendleton Mills, the Pendletons, where we've been buying our blankets for 100 and some odd years, and now you're offering us a choice that I'd rather choose from and buy from. And let's tell our listeners about this new company and about what 8th Generation is and what you have to offer.
Yeah, well, 8th Generation, you know, has always been the brand name that I do my work under has always been really focused on creating accessibly priced products that people actually use. You know, I kind of look at that as being a lot more consistent with the way that our ancestors used art, you know, in terms of, you know, they put artwork on, you know, our homes and, you know, the tools that we use, our spoons or bowls, you know, the doors to our homes, that kind of thing. Oh, yeah, custom shoes.
Yes.
Those are all, moccasins are custom shoes. So I've always wanted to do that rather than pursuing the fine art scene. And so what you see now in terms of me launching wool blankets is really an extension of that, you know, kind of mission that we've had for a number of years. But it was shortly after I started my business in 2010 that I got the idea to be the first, or kind of the seed was planted for this mission to be the first Native-owned company to offer wool blankets. And it was right when I keynoted the National Indian Education Association's annual conference, and it was awarded a beautiful Pendleton blanket. You know, it was a really big honor. But it was maybe a month later that I was curled up in front of my TV some night, you know, swaddled in this beautiful blanket that I had, that I noticed the tag. And I read the tag for the first time, and it said number 11 out of 300. And then so I started doing the math because I knew how much these Pendleton blankets were, even at a wholesale price. And I thought, man, what would the influx of this amount of capital do for a small business like the one it was just starting? And right there, I knew that it was going to be a really good kind of niche to occupy as a Native-owned business, but also it planted the seeds to be able to start talking about this idea of economic justice for cultural artists. And as tribal communities, when we do have resources, we need to be using our resources in a way that kind of perpetuates the things that we like and the things that we stand for. And when we're using our money to support a company like Pendleton that has only given back in very, very limited ways over their 160-year history, we are basically undermining the ability of artists and arts entrepreneurs like myself to make a sustainable living and perpetuating cultural appropriation.
Absolutely.
So I want to give people a choice not to just get a native-owned blanket, but we also want to articulate the issues behind the reasons why we think people should be choosing to buy from a native-owned company that uses native artists 100% of the time.
Absolutely, and thank you. I've always been looking for another choice. I think it was one time Charlene Christ down in Squawks, and I received a blanket, and I couldn't trace it back from where it came from because I was willing to do all my business, and I'm always buying blankets and giveaway and things like that, and so I appreciate that. What do you have? Is it what was the questions I wanted to ask? Like
I
up
got
there in
I got
Seattle,
one. I got one
building.
shout out for him. They didn't have the money to pay me at one of the presentations I did, and they gave me one of Louis' blankets, which was beautiful with the eagle. Looked like there was a longhouse in it. Do you know that design?
Yep. I call it the Eagle Vision blanket, and Eagle Vision is something I talk to the youth about all the time, about looking at your life from a high altitude. So when you look at your life from a high altitude, you can see multiple generations at the same time, and so then you can kind of recognize that the opportunities that you're being presented with are not just the result of your own actions. It's the cumulative actions of everybody that came before you. Mm-hmm. And then also when you're presented with a problem, you recognize that, hey, my grandma and grandpa had a lot more severe problems than this. So it gives you perspective.
Yeah, that's a great design. Hey, yeah. I got a question for you. Speaking on those lines of the ones before you, do you remember as a kid thinking who you looked at and you said, that's an artist? I think I want to do something like this. Can you name any individuals?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I grew up in Nooksack, which is surrounded by, white farming town, and there wasn't a lot of support for the arts. And so when I think about being a kid and getting exposed to art, it's really all about my Uncle Jack. Jack Miranda was the artist who was, I think he was born in B.C., but, went back and forth between B.C. and Nooksack. And he's known for his carvings. His carvings were in galleries at that time, and collectors collected his work. But he made most of his work with just a buck knife. Wow. Like a lot of folks of his generation, he was in and out of prison, and that's where he learned to carve, was in prison.
Louis, that goes right along with your sticker you have that you were, you're an inspired native, not native inspired.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, but Uncle Jack, just to finish, kind of honoring Uncle Jack's influence in my life, he came to stay with us for maybe it was about a year when I was about 10 years old. And so at that time I got to see him kind of take a block of wood or like a panel and then change it into something that everybody really universally recognized as being something beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was the seed that I think manifested itself later, but it wasn't until I was 34 that I really started to explore art.
But you could do something with that talent, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know there was any talent there until I was working down at Muckleshoot, and the Muckleshoot language program was making drums for giveaway items when Muckleshoot hosted the Journey. And I went down there to help them paint drums. After a while, when people saw that I had some ability to paint, at least I could paint a straight line at that time. I didn't know anything about design. And so they started making their drums, and instead of painting them themselves, they'd give them to me.
Give them to you? You bet.
Yeah, so I ended up painting like 30 drums over like 3 or 4 months, and that's what really unlocked this like passion and interest in the traditional art forms. I'd be driving down the road and like look at the car in front of me, and I would see like Formline or Coast Salish or Northwest Coast design elements, in the cars. And
wow.
Look at people's faces or the trees and just see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's some collectibles out there in the 253, huh? If you got a Louis Gong drum, hold on to them, baby.
If you go through the offices at Muckleshoot Tribal College up there, you're going to see my artwork in just about everybody's office. And the way that I, even though like I started, making the drums, and that was a really kind of like a watershed moment for me right at the beginning, it was really the encouragement that I got from coworkers when they would see my staff meeting doodles that gave me the courage to eventually put my art on a pair of shoes and then show people. Wow. And so I'm kind of honored that a lot of my first sketches, they're just staff meeting doodles that I made, and before I was ever anything or no one knew my name, they put those pictures up on their office walls in a position of honor. And so that gave me the strength to kind of go public, I guess, with the artwork I was creating.
So you started out on people's refrigerator?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hunting peaches and things like that. Yeah, how about that? Thoughts become things, huh, Louis?
Yeah, I've been in education. I was in education for about 20 years until, I branched out to go off on my own to be an artist and entrepreneur like 3 years ago. But when I first started, I was a school counselor, and I worked out at Kingston Junior High working with kids from Squamish and Little Boston.
Yeah.
And, it was like when I first started doing art and my name was getting out there, these kids remembered me from when I was working with them, and they would message me and say, "Hey, Louie, you remember that picture you drew of me? We still have it on our fridge wall." And that was before I ever thought of myself as an artist. I was just like, I would kind of encourage kids to sit and do their work by drawing a picture of them. So if they sat and did their work for like 30, 40 minutes, I would give them the photo that they could, or not the photo, but the drawing, and take it home and do whatever they want with it.
Wow. Hey, I'm up against a hard break here, Louis. Hopefully you can hold on for a few more minutes and share a little bit more time with our listeners. But, we're getting a signal here. We got to go for a quick break. If you're just tuning in, where the heck have you been? We're enthralled by the story of our good brother here, Louis Gong, who's joining us here on Travel Talk Radio. We got about 30 more minutes here of the most unique and listened to Native American Indian radio program on this planet. KLEY 1180 AM with Travel Talk Radio. Your humble host, Robert T. Schwach. And Louis, we'll come back from this break. I kind of wanted to get those questions in of who, what, where, when, and why about this new company, this new blanket company we got going on up there in the Seattle area. So I wanted you to fill in all those blanks and get the word out and how we can support you.
Yeah, well, I couldn't be more excited about being the first Native-owned company to offer wool blankets, and it's the major focus of mine right now and of everybody who works with my company. So what's happening is that we are just in the final week of an Indiegogo fundraising campaign, and the fundraising campaign is to give us a head start on hiring our first full-time employee. A lot of people don't believe that it's actually just been me working with a team of interns over the last few years to build what we have right now. And then part of the money for the fundraising campaign will also help to offset the cost of the very first blanket that we did, which is a Thunderbird blanket. That was a collaboration between me and Evergreen State College, their longhouse. And 8th Generation, we're just a small company, but I was able to recently deliver $25,000 retail value in blankets for them to help celebrate their 20th anniversary. So I'm really proud of that. Yep. So the crowdfunding campaign goes for another week, and it's on October 19th. It's like day after the crowdfunding campaign ends that we will actually start selling these blankets retail on our website. And so if you have the resources and want to support us, there's still a couple blankets left available as a limited edition perk. That means they're signed and numbered for the crowdfunding campaign. So if you go to my website or Facebook page, you'll find a link to the crowdfunding campaign. And if you don't have that kind of cabbage, then you might want to wait until October 19th. That's when they'll be for sale at a retail price of about $180 on the 8th Generation website. And 5% of all blanket revenue is going to support a grant that will be administered by the staff at the Evergreen State College Longhouse and housed by the Evergreen State College Foundation. So I'm working really closely with Evergreen to try to make something happen in a highly professional way. And I think that our work together is really demonstrating how, if we work together and support each other, that we can accomplish anything.
Yeah, that's how it is, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, so what are the websites and how do we find the place to support you?
You go to 8thgeneration.com. That's 8th spelled all the way out, EIGHTH generation.com. You'll find links to information about our blankets. That includes information for buying individual blankets, which you can do starting October 19th. Or if you want to pass on information to your tribe or organizational leadership about doing a whole run of custom design blankets, that's there too. And right on the front page, you'll find a link to our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. If you can support us, we have all kinds of cool perks for donating at different levels. So if you can support us, that's great with a contribution. But if you can't afford to make a contribution, it's great if you just share a link to the Indiegogo campaign with your network.
Absolutely.
So there's all kinds of ways to help us. We have almost 300 individual donors to our campaign already. So I'm really proud of the breadth of support
Absolutely.
that we got from the community. Yeah.
Well, this is like a win-win for everybody who is involved or may decide to become involved or support you. So yeah, Indians helping Indians or just supporting everybody. I like this. I really like this, Louis.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. You know, I'm really proud of the way that the business is conducting itself. I think it's consistent with my personal values, and there's probably no other place that manifests itself than in the Inspired Natives Project, which we don't have time to talk about today, but if people go to my website, they can find a link to it right at the top menu, and they'll learn about how we're helping other community-based artists to basically do what I did, which is transition from making products that are hand-drawn or handmade to producing them in quantity so they can meet the demand for their product.
Right on. Hey, I'd like to invite you to come back on to Tribal Talk Radio maybe a little bit after the doors opened and things get a little bit settled down and find out where you're at. And maybe we have a little bit more time to really talk about all the things that you have to offer and things that you've done, Louis.
Hey, I would love to, Robert. I really appreciate you reaching out to me and for the support that you've given, both of you guys. Yeah. I really appreciate the support, and I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we'll let you get back to your honoring and let the people there enjoy your presence and your smile and your words and everything like that you have to offer. And again, we thank you for taking the time out and joining us here at Tribal Talk Radio, brother.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. You too. Wait. Bye-bye.
Well,
there's a guy that's on the move, huh? Making things happen. A guy that's like-minded, like-hearted, like yourself there with the Terra Tipi project that you have up there in the 253 up in the Mucktown area, Auburn, in the heart of the city where those alligators roam, right of just north of where 18 crosses over Auburn Way there, a few blocks up, just shy of the Burger King. You'll find this new business, this new art gallery that is forming and should be open here in the near future. The business name is Terra Tipi, and it is fully thought of, ran, and protected. It's the whole ball of wax, and he's my co-host, Robert Upham.
Yeah, Robert. Could I do a shout-out to the Muckleshoots?
Let's do that.
Yeah, so he mentioned Muckleshoot, so it's kind of like a incubation ground for him. And then for our family, the Upham family, last year when my niece passed away in the month of October, they came forward in many different ways, and especially the Muckleshoot Pentecostal Church allowed us to have her funeral there in memorial. And shout out to Muckleshoots and all the Indians that step forward and help each other out.
Yeah. Are you up to or informed enough that I know there was a dinner or a celebration of her life, Misty Upham, planned? Do you know the date and time or any information about that? It's just an upcoming and somewhere around Facebook.
It's this month, and it's in a couple of weeks. I don't have the exact time. I apologize, but I just wanted to put that out there because a thought came because Louis was talking about Muckleshoots, you know.
What an interesting fella that Louis Gong, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's
whereas a lot of his stories like you, you know, because can you hear me?
Yeah. He doesn't let the some kind of social construct limit him. You know, he's what the Chicanos call la raza. The race means we evolve, and he's evolved into his own person, and he's really inspiration to a lot of kids because he's come to accept his mixture in his lineage, and so he's all of that, and that makes him special and unique and good in anybody's eyes. So that's how we need to create our Indian communities, where we become strong and everybody's part of the whole, and we don't divide anybody out.
What I was getting from him is like there was never consideration to buy into or to sell out in any way. Like I think he did have a collaboration with Pendleton Mills down there in that Thunderbird design, where they took a design and put it on their blankets. And but other than that, though, I appreciate the fact that how he was talking is that it's all possible within us to do these things, you know. And We just got to, stick to it and find the way, do the research, do the homework. And, we can do those types of things where we can retain and give back to our own community. These sales and these monies can be used to build our own infrastructure and help our own peoples. And I think that was kind of like along the lines of with the Terra Tipi I was gating, where this beautiful place, it will be open to like-minded and like-hearted people, right? The people that have these talents and gifts and looking for a place to do and show their wares.
You came by and visited the other day, and you're in on it, and I really appreciate your support, and looking forward to working with you and Tribal Talk and the legacy that you're starting to produce of being a voice of the tribal communities and representing and promoting artists like Louis Gong and representing old school voices like John Trudell.
Yeah.
And you really are that, Robert. This Tribal Talk it's a great name, and I was thinking about something the other day when I was driving down the road after you visited. I was thinking of those initials. Tribal Talk is TT, and then Terra Tipi is TT. And I tried to think of a design for a T-shirt, like when put all the people in there that you interview, and this is just thoughts coming out of my head right now, boiling over, like T to the second power plus T to the second power equals, and I don't know what that's gonna be, but you know what I mean. Tribal Talk plus Terra Tipi equals probably medicine wheel or the 4 directions. So it'll be T to the second power plus T to the second power equals 4 directions. I like that. So maybe that'll be designed on a T-shirt, Rob.
Hey, so when people would come up to visit the Terra Tipi, they open up the door. What is the vision? Share a little bit about the vision, or what,
I think
because we got lacrosse going on, Tribal Talk Radio. We have these huge. We got the teepee in there. We got these huge canvas murals that you've created, and then you have other artists that will be coming in. And
I think the first thing you see, we got private individuals that are gonna let us use their private collection with museum quality art, and I think the first thing from the window front they'll see beautiful art. And then when they come inside, I hope the first thing they see is a piece of work on a little coffee table that's a work in progress by one of our beaters or carvers, and so they could see it. This is a live exhibit of us continuing our tradition and being part of community. This isn't a gallery where it's just about marketing for money. I don't want to deny any of our community values just for the individual. You know, like Louis has that. So I appreciate what he just said. I think in this space, the monies are going to go to, all of the monies from the Terra Tipi are going to go towards even reinvesting and promoting artists and paying the costs for the space, and also towards making teepees to promote Tribal Talk Radio. It'll also be done to promote some of the things we've done in the past, like give away lacrosse sticks through Blue Pony Lacrosse, or provide opportunities in schools to learn about the history and culture of our native people, and the share lacrosse and other things like the canoe families. Yeah. We have somebody coming in, Harvey Anderson, who's from Quinault, that works for the Puyallup tribe, and he's gonna be one of our artists, so to speak, in residence, but also a collaborator. And we're gonna be establishing. We're a group of artists that'll be part of the Terra Tipi family, and we're going to break it down into how much they will invest it, whether it be in time or talent, images like gift to Terra Tipi, or if it's a monthly amount. And you don't have to be a member of Terra Tipi. You could also just put your work there on commission. So there's different ways to be involved with this, even if you just give a donation. But I don't want to get into that right now. I'd like to talk about the meaning of the word Terra and Tipi. So the word Terra comes from a Latin word meaning earth or land, and Tipi comes from a Dakota word that has been misconstrued as meaning a tent, but Tipi means home. Yeah. So we're promoting our homeland and the indigenous construct of our vision to Terra Tipi. Yeah, we got a website too, terratipi.com. I hear the music come on. It's about time for a break, right, Rob?
Yeah, we're about 30 seconds out from our thing. But yeah, it's go to the website, terratipi.com, and then there's a Facebook page as well.
There is, yeah.
Get over there and check out some of these works. And when we get back, we'll share about a special visitor that we had come up on Was it Monday? Tuesday.
Yeah,
He came up and visited the Terra Tipi. Tribal Talk Radio with your humble hosts, Robert, the Harlem Indian, Upham, and your other humble guy, that T-Shroxatiacum fella. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Robert Satiacum. Are you looking to get away from it all? The Little Creek Casino Resort invites you to get away today and enjoy one of their thoughtfully appointed stay and play packages. Then schedule your tea time on the rolling fairways of the Salish Cliffs Golf Club. Or just forget about time in the luxurious Seven Inlets Spa. Packages starting at just $129 and are available by calling 800-667-7711 or online at little-creek.com. Little Creek Casino Resort, it's not how far you go, it's how far you get away.
Uganashna onia iwachu awaki hishni. Sometimes I have trouble breathing. Onia iwachu awaki hishni kiha lila ni himiche. When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Hey ha hawach bashna wanya shnishni. I start to cough and I feel like I'm choking. Ina na ante wokujati bita ama ubi sa. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks, but do you know how to prevent them? Do you know things like shower curtains, a blanket, even a teddy bear can trigger your child's asthma attacks? Avoid your child's next asthma attack by calling 1-866-NO-ATTACKS and learn more about the ways that you can help, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
A public service message brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Soda can, 60 decibels. Tattoo gun, 75 decibels. Motorcycle, 95 decibels. Chainsaw, 105 decibels. Full volume through your earbuds, 120 decibels. Play it safe. Turn down the volume. To learn how to protect your hearing, visit asha.org.
Hello, everyone. My name is Georgina Lightning, and you're listening to Tribal Talk Radio on Clay Radio.
You know, with all these, this show kind of being around the art world and art subject, I was, when I was skedoodling through the web pages and I was looking for some things about Louis, what he's been doing in the past and in the future, I ran into this thing. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's have you heard of Jeremy Scott? Do you know Jeremy Scott? Anyway, he's another artist and stuff. He designed this tracksuit for Adidas. And I think I saw it when I was looking up the Burke Museum is having this event. It's called Totems to Tennis Shoes. And it's about the contemporary artwork and things like that. And on it, it was a picture of this Jeremy Scott's tracksuit for Adidas, and it looks like a totem. So you have those new like spandexy whatever leggings kind of looking thing, and that had like all natives design. And then there was this like a rash guard or the same kind of material, real tight and aerodynamic kind of materials, and then it looked like a totem. And then when you put your arms straight out, east and west, it's like the wing suit or the Thunderbird wings. And so you look like a standing totem pole with this tracksuit. And I thought that'd create a little bit of drag in the armpit area or something like that. But I'd keep your eye out for it, though. You never know. When we start walking into our own flags under our own nations and tribes at the upcoming Olympics here, keep your eye open for it.
You could stand up in the canoe and become a sail.
You almost like that, yeah. Stand up. That'd be good, but yeah, when the Armstrong motors get a little tired, huh? Everybody's arms out, man. So go. Hey, but when we went to the break, signs that you're heading in the right direction. Exit a mile and a half down the road, exit 134. You follow these signs, and Robert and I was talking about this endeavor a while back, and I was listening to him, and then it comes to fruition. Then the tumbleweed gives me a call. Hey, we landed here. The BB stopped at just north of 18, and come check it out. Tuesday sounds good. Went and checked it, and fell in love with the idea, the place, the vision, and we headed up to the 253, Mucktown, the Muckleshoots, and visited with the elders up that way. And walking down the aisle, we hear, Robert,
Yeah, we went up there for free lunch.
Yeah, we went to free lunch. Yeah, this is to be honest. But it's delicious too and nutritious.
It was. They got great cooks up there.
Hey, Robert, and I looked to my right, and there he was, Father too.
Yeah, somebody said, "Hey, Robert," and I thought they were talking to you.
I thought he was talking to you. I knew he was talking to you. I knew he was talking to you, brother. So, hey, Robert. So we got to visit with.
We stood in line to talk to the Saint of Indian Country.
The Saint of Indian Country, the great
Father Pat
Toohey. Yeah, and we told him about what was going on, and I haven't had a chance to see him, or a chance to really talk to him face to face. I saw him at my friend Wayne Bill's funeral. God rest his soul, and didn't get a chance to say hi or thank you. He was. I told you that story that day that after that our Sonny boy was born, and on our way home that drunk driver hit us, and we ended up in Harborview for a month or so, and when the wheels came off the wagon and the paddles fell out of the canoe and there was just complete chaos and we were losing my beautiful wife Elizabeth, it was then everything I was trying to help with the situation, and I got done singing, and she's like, she was so scared, and that's when I said, Creator, send me an angel, send me help. And it was seconds later my phone rang, and I didn't usually okay, I answered it, and it was Father Pat Toohey. He says, "Hey, I'm in the area. Could you use a prayer?" And I was like, that was a life ring that fell right in front of me. I grabbed hold of that. He said, "Yes, absolutely." And then I told Liz it's going to be, I told her who called, and he said he's in the area, probably be about 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't more than like 3 minutes. I turned around, and there he was in the doorway. He had this cedar woven basket, and it had like 5 of these cedar woven roses that were made out of cedar, and then some decorations, and these nurses and these doctors that were flying in and out trying to assess and save her life because she needed a blood transfusion. What the heck's going on? What are you guys doing? He says, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today in the presence of our Creator to join these two in holy matrimony." And so, because we were planning on getting married, we had all these things planned before that drunk driver.
So you're married right there?
Yeah. So you
Father Pat married you?
Yeah, right there. Made it official like that, And these people, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Just keep rolling with it,
Yeah.
Keep rolling it, And she's not in a good way. We don't need this going on right." I said, "Continue on, man."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's
wow. He is like a saint in Indian Country. When I was back home in February for the Midwinter Fair, they had a meeting down at the St. Paul's Mission in Hayes, Montana, on the Fort Belknap Indian Reservation, and they were talking about not have a Catholic father come there to that mission anymore, and they had a lot of Indians there advocating to keep one there. Mm-hmm. And when they came back from the meeting, I missed driving out there with them, but Caroline Mount told me that. Told me about the issues that were at hand, and I said, who would be good for that? You should have him come speak, because he knew one of the fathers back here from back in the day, and he helps out with the Chief Seattle Club. Speaking of Chief Seattle Club with Louis Gong, because Father Pat helps out with that too. So I said, "There's this guy named Father Pat Toohey," and she goes, "What's his name?" And I said, "Father Pat Toohey," and he goes, "I think he was there. He was from Seattle." I said, "Yeah, he was there." And then when I came back to Seattle, I seen Father Pat Toohey, and I said, "Were you at Hayes, Montana, at the St. Paul's Mission?" And he was. So, like you talk about having wings, he's all over the place.
He's all over the place, that guy.
Yeah, and he was there for us. So what did we do? We after we finished our Jello, what was that in the Jello? It was pretty good.
Oh, that was delicious.
Like cottage cheese, or what did they have mixed in the Jello over there?
Don't say cottage cheese. I don't like cottage cheese.
Oh, was it? Oh, maybe that's the way your mom fed you cottage cheese back in the day.
Yeah.
Snuck it in.
But it was good.
Yeah. So anyway, we asked him after he finished whining and dining and blessing the people he was with at the table. We asked him if he would come and bless the location of Terra Tipi down in Auburn.
Yeah. And
he did. He came down and he got his shell together and his sage and his water and he did a traditional blessing of our site for Terra Tipi, the home of the homeland of this new artist movement we're trying to put together in co-op. So that was right on target, right on time, wasn't it, Rob?
That was a perfect sign right there. He had all the gear with him, and it just, of course, and so it was a great blessing, great prayer, and a chance for us to give a little bit back to him too. So we're best foot forward, heading in the right direction. And thoughts become things, and when you get a blessing on top of that, so it's going to benefit the community. It's going to benefit us as a whole. I just want to kind of throw in here that what I was talking about, this from totems to tennis shoes, excuse me, art and culture in the Northwest. It begins on a Tuesday, the 20th of this month, and it runs for a month for a few weeks through November 10th. And it's at the Burke Museum. They're going to be having classes each and every night or a couple nights a week, and they meet at 7 o'clock up there. So get a hold of Carl Sander, 206-616-6473. And we wanted to give a great shout out and have people save the date and mark their calendar for this weekend up in Skagit Valley. The powwow with a grand entry this Friday at 7 o'clock, and then Saturday at 1 and 7, and then Sunday at 1 o'clock. So if you're up there in that area, in the Skagit Valley area, mark your calendar and show up, show out. Stand up, stand out. Be a good native. Be a good native person like that. Yeah, we got a lot more we could have covered. Just want to let people know phase 2 of the name restoration to our holy and sacred hill in our backyard or our front yard or our side yard, what they call Mount R right there, is getting another stab of fresh air, another injection of fresh air. And so I want to thank those people from Democracy Now! That I'll be meeting with, and as well as the independent film crew that's making a documentary. I'll be meeting with them and giving an interview. And Doug Mackey down in Olympia with his healing and restoration group down there, bridging the gap between misinformation and misguidance between the Native American Indian people and the non-Native American Indian people. So, onward and upward. All these people doing a lot of beautiful things. I want to thank you, Robert Upham, the Harlem Indian, Terra Tipi founder, for coming in and being my co-host today. Brother, thank you.
Yeah, thank you to the Seattle Seahawks for winning last week, and good luck to them this week.
Yeah, had a little help from those other guys. And then to my beautiful wife, the other co-host, Elizabeth T. Schwaxataikan, wherever you are out there in the bright young scholar land. Your seat is being kept warm here by the big Harlem Indian. So get out there and treat yourself like you would and like you do your best friend, won't you? Walk in beauty before you, behind you, to your side, your left and your right, below you and above you. And on a day like today, smile, huh? And if you can't, give the Harlem Indian a call. He'll give you one of his smiles. Improves your face value. So on behalf of my beautiful co-host, my wonderful co-host, the Harlem Indian, and myself.
Because I don't use my smiles. I just store them to keep them away.
Oh, man, I'm going to follow you
never
pick
use
those
them.
things up like that, dude. I love smiling, brother. So at any rate, all my relations. Catch you next week, huh? Hoyt. Yeah, I like those smiles,
Hoyt.
man. I'll follow you behind you.
Fathers and children, creatures young and grown, called by mighty drumming of sacred hooves on stone. The sound of spirit horses dancing on a storm. Mercy for the people, old ways, new dreams reborn. Find us spirit horses and teach us how to ride with 7 generations of promise at our side.
Clay Radio, your conversation station.